So the next part of our unit, we're going to be looking back at radicals, which we looked at when we were doing special right triangles. We're going to be looking this time at adding and subtracting radicals. Now remember, radicals are terms that have the square root sign, which is what you have always known it as. Now we talk about it more as a radical sign. We talk about when it says the square root of 4, square root of 7, anything like that, those are radicals. So the first thing we're going to talk about is adding radicals. So we're going to start with the easy stuff and what it means to add radicals. So you can kind of think of radicals as very similar to variables in how we add and subtract them. That means that we can only add or subtract like terms. In other words, we can only add and subtract like variables. So here, you'll see that we have 2 square root 3 plus 3 square root 3. We treat these just like we would variables, like if this was 2x plus 3x. You add the coefficients, 2 and 3, and you leave the radicals the same. So 2 square root 3 plus 3 square root 3 is 5 square root 3. Okay, so pretty easy, right? Now let's look at this one over here to the right. 3 square root 2 plus 4 square root 3. First thing you need to ask yourself is, are those like terms? Are they like radicals? Well, one of them is a square root of 2, the other one is a square root of 3. We cannot combine anything here. They're not like terms, so the answer is exactly what's written. 3 square root 2 plus 4 square root 3. So the main thing to take away from this part of it is like terms versus unlike terms. We cannot add or subtract unlike terms. Now let's look at what happens when you get ones that aren't quite so pretty. Okay, so you remember we talked about how to simplify radicals. You can only add and subtract and get a final answer when everything is simplified. So before you add, you generally want to make sure that all of the radicals are simplified. If they're already matching, you can add them together and then simplify them. But let's look at the ones that we have here. So we have square root of 8 plus square root of 2. Now, if you remember from when we were doing our work with radicals before, we can use our breaking out of jail method to break down our radicals and simplify them. Now, square root of 8 can be simplified, so I'm going to use my breaking out of jail method. I know that 8 can break down into 4 times 2. I know that 4 can break down into 2 and 2, and I bring my 2 down. Remember, you can break out of jail in a pair, so we can break out this pair of 2's. And then we have 1 2 that has to stay in jail. So now we have 2 square root 2 plus square root of 2. What is understood to be in front of that square root of 2? Again, think of it just like a variable. What's understood to be in front of an x? A 1. So we have 2 square root 2 plus 1 square root 2. Our answer is 3 square root 2. Alright, let's look at the next one. This one's subtracting. Now there's not really a big difference with subtracting, it's just that you're going to subtract instead of add. So here we have 4 square root 3 minus the square root of 18. Alright, so we have to see if we can break down square root of 18. We want to see if we can get like terms. So I know that 18 breaks down into 9 times 2. 9 breaks down into 3 and 3, and I bring down the 2. As far as I can go, I can break my 3 out of jail. I'm going to leave my 2 in jail. So I have 4 square root 3 minus 3 square root 2. Those are not like terms, so that's as far as I can go. Now for the last one. I've got 4 square root 2 minus 3 square root 9. So what can I break down? I see I have my 9. It'll break down into 3 times 3, and at that point you should remember that you know the square root of 9 is 3. So you have 3 times 3, which we know is 9. So we have 4 square root 2 minus 9. And we can't go any further, so that's your answer. Just a couple more practice. There's no big difference between adding and subtracting. We can break down this 12 into 4 times 3, 2 times 2 and 3. Break the 2 out. I've got 2 square root 3 minus 3 square root 3. So my answer is 1 square root 3. Now you don't really have to write the 1. So you can erase that, and your answer is square root 3. Then you've got 2 square root 3 minus 3 square root 16. Well, I know the square root of 16 is 4. So I get 2 square root 3 minus 3 times 4 is 12. My answer is 2 square root 3 minus 12. And then for the last one, I look at them, I immediately know that they are not like terms, so I can't subtract them. So that's it. Make sure that you go answer the questions and turn them in when you're done. Make sure that they get turned in correctly, and that's it.